Hello and welcome to New Hope for Today. My name is Pastor Andrew Hise, and I'm the pastor at New Hope Friends Church in Goldsboro, North Carolina. As we enter into this season of Advent, over the next several weeks, I'm going to be doing a series of videos here on New Hope for Today, talking about the women of Advent or the women of Christmas. I'm basing a lot of what I'm going to be talking about on this book by Liz Curtis Higgs called The Women of Christmas. And this goes through mostly the account of that Luke gives in his gospel in the first and second chapter. It talks about three women. You know, we always hear about the wise men. We always hear about the shepherds. We always hear about all these different characters that had to do with Advent. But we rarely think about these three women who had a huge impact and played a huge and vital role in the coming of Jesus. So over the next several weeks, I'm going to be telling these stories of these three ladies. First Elizabeth, then Mary, the mother of Jesus, and then a prophetess by the name of Anna. And these can all be found in Luke chapter 1 and chapter 2. Today, I simply want to read one verse for you. It introduces our characters, but it introduces all of the people that are going to be in this story, this account. It's in chapter 1, verse 5. It says this: "In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah of the division of Abijah, and he had a wife from the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth." Now, this may just seem like a throwaway verse. It's kind of like once upon a time, there was these two people, and they did this such and such a thing, and it's just how every story begins. But Luke here, who is writing this gospel for Theophilus, he actually is writing this for a purpose. And he does this because he's mentioning names that are very historic names. You see, Herod, king of Judea, is an actual person who actually lived, who we have outside records, outside of the Bible, that prove that there was a Herod who was known as king of Judea. And we can look and go back to those records and see about what time this is happening. So Luke, who was a physician, a doctor of the time, someone who would have been an analytical thinker, someone who would have thought a man of science, so to speak, would have done his research. And here he's adding in this detail to place this story, the story of Elizabeth, the story of Zechariah, the story that we'll talk about all this week, in time, in a place in history. And here's the thing: Jesus came in a real time, in a real place in history. I don't talk about these things because they're just made up stories that help me to feel better about my life. I talk about this and I base my life on Christianity and on the fact that Jesus came because I believe all of what happened in history. Jesus really did come to this earth. He really did live a life here among people. People saw him. He had followers. He had people who saw him die, people who saw him raised again. And that's the thing. God is not some God who's aloof, who's just out there, not worried at all about history, but he's someone who steps into history. And here we're going to see how God intervenes in the story of Elizabeth, in the story of Zechariah. They're just living their lives. And all of a sudden, God intervenes. God comes in at a point in history, at a point in their lives. And know this today. This is the truth. God can intervene in your life too. And he wants to. He wants to come in to the point of your life right now. And he wants to have a relationship with you. And he wants to show you that he can care about you and love you. So know that God is not some God who's just aloof or doesn't care. God is a God who does love and wants to intervene in your life if you'll just call out to him this day. Blessings during this Advent season. I'm excited about what God can do in our life as he intervenes, as we show how he can intervene in our stories, just as he intervened with Elizabeth. New Hope for Today is a daily video devotional brought to you by Pastor Andrew Hise of New Hope Friends Church. New Hope Friends Church is located at 4451 U.S. Highway 70 East in Goldsboro, North Carolina. New hope for today, strength for today, hope for tomorrow.